Welcome to the very first episode of the MEE-FIT Podcast. We're yet to come up with a formal name. We'll just know it as the MEE-FIT Podcast.
The MEE-FIT Podcast.
To start with. We thought it would be a good idea to start with a little bit of an intro all about sort of MEE-FIT, who we are, the journey to this point.
Yeah.
And then future episodes can be a little bit more sort of informative, educational, motivating, hopefully.
And we're also on board to hearing people's ideas for podcasts. If they've got any questions or ideas on concepts we can use, we are happy to hear them.
Definitely.
So, to get us cracking, we want to talk firstly about the origins of MEE-FIT, where we started, how we started, the name change, all of that. So really taking it back a few years.
Yeah.
So you can kick us off on that.
Cool. So for any newer members who maybe don't know the journey, or anyone else who's not a member who's sort of listening in. So I'm going to try and keep it really brief and really short, but I graduated, we both graduated from university in 2014. My degree was sports therapy, yours was interior design. I knew straight away that I didn't want to work in like elite sport or kind of go down that route. I always sort of thought about being in charge of my own work schedule and sort of being self-employed initially. So I started off what initially was a mobile sports injury treatment and sort of rehabilitation business. So I used to work with people local to Whitchurch who had suffered sport-related injuries. I'd go around mobile, so I used to take my massage table with me in the car.
Fold-up bed, I remember that.
And travel to people's houses and do sports massage, treatment, rehabilitation, exercises, etc. And then that was about 6 months, and then I started at the rugby club, Whitchurch Rugby Club, as the sort of head sports therapist there. So that was training nights with the players and match day cover. And as part of that agreement, they allowed me to use the therapy room to do my work from. So I started using the treatment room there to treat people and run my business from. And then they gave me a room next door as well, which was for rehabilitation for the players. And I was also able to use that for what at the time was rehabilitation from injuries. And then that was going okay, but throughout my degree, even though it was more based around sports injuries, it was definitely the fitness side of things that was definitely where my passion was. And I used a lot of my time in my degree to kind of build my knowledge around health and fitness and using the principles I learned around sports injuries in terms of things like basing treatment on evidence and all that type of stuff, and kind of took that into the fitness side of things. So I started doing personal training. I did a personal training qualification after finishing my degree, got that sorted, and then started promoting myself then as a personal trainer. And that was what really took off. And that was what I really enjoyed doing. And that was where my passion truly was. So the sports injury side of it got a little bit less kind of relevant, and I started doing more and more personal training. That was just from a tiny, tiny room at the rugby club, where I generally did mostly one-to-one personal training, occasionally did some 2-to-1, but that was literally the most you could do. You couldn't get 3 people in training and me. It was just too small of a room. And it was just such a basic setup. I had a barbell, some weights, some dumbbells, a couple of kettlebells, chin-up bar on the wall, proper like rugby clubs with like breeze block walls.
And the name wasn't MEE-FIT.
No, so initially it was Dan Me Personal Training, and that was probably from 2015 through till early 2016. And then the personal training just got really busy. Like I was flat out, early mornings, evenings, daytimes were mostly taken as well. Like I built up quite a good client base, and I was just absolutely, working all the time. Weekends were taken up by the rugby, so all day Saturday that was gone. So it was only really Sunday that I had to have any free time. I also, just before starting the personal training, I started my master's degree, because the sports injury side of things I knew that wasn't a future career path for me really. So I sort of wanted to look at other options. So I started a master's degree. So that was then Sunday. So it was a busy couple of years. but we got to sort of back end of 2015 and I knew that the personal training side of things, the fitness side of things was what I wanted to pursue further. And I knew that that wasn't something I could continue to do from the rugby club. Locally to us in Whitchurch, there wasn't loads of options where I could then go to do personal training. There wasn't any sort of big gyms that have, self-employed personal trainers as part of the setup. So it was either kind of carry on as I was or kind of create something for myself and ourselves. So we went down that route. So back end of 2015, we found a property that we wanted to lease, which was the initial MEE-FIT. It was 1,000 square feet. Looking back, it was a tiny space, but at the time it was big and it was scary and it was a jump into the unknown. But we pulled the trigger. So we leased out that unit, and I can't remember the exact dates, but I know that we opened in April 2016. So that was when we were sort of moved all the clients from the rugby club across to MEE-FIT. I still did the rugby club for a bit longer, didn't I? After that, I still did the training nights, but then that got to a point where that was taking up too much time and too much energy. So I had to end my sort of job, so to speak, at the rugby club, and I just went all in on MEE-FIT.
And that's when the name change happened, when we moved to that.
Yeah, the idea behind that was I didn't like the idea of it being just Dan Me personal training. I
think that's when you had your realization that you weren't going to be doing this on your own for too much longer, and that you wanted to build a team, and then hence the name change. I need to take it from Dan Me to something else because it can't always just be me. So I think that's when you kind of had that realization, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I wanted to make it more of a a bit more of a sort of brand and identity rather than just being about myself. But I know there is other places out there that are very much based around a person who still have a team. You know, we went to the one in New York, Mark Fisher Fitness, and it's still the net. It's still included. We want to include the name, but we just didn't want it to be just Dan Me specifically. So we just had a bit of a rebrand to MEE-FIT. Which we thought was quite a nice sounding name, and it kind of made sense with the industry that we were in. So we opened up as MEE-FIT in 2016 of the April, and then it was mostly me doing the sessions for the first sort of just over 6 months. But after a couple of months, we knew that actually we needed someone else involved, and I needed some support with the coaching to help me, have more hours available for clients and open up more opportunities for clients to work with us and for us to support them. So it was sort of probably summer of 2016 that we thought, right, let's get you involved as well. So you did your PT course back end of 2016 and then started as a coach in the January of 2017.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yes. Yeah.
So we just went all in.
Yeah.
Because we knew that we sort of felt like we were.
Well, I felt like I was obviously pulled into it naturally because of you already doing it, and then kind of my degree became, I kind of knew that my degree was going to have to take me into the city, and that kind of wasn't what I wanted. So that really was a shift. And then I probably was doing bits here and there, like with my degree in town, but decided that I wanted to change completely.
Yeah, well, you'd always been passionate about fitness anyway.
Well, it kind of came full circle because before we went out, I was went out when we were 16. Yeah. I wanted to go in the RAF as a PT. That's what I wanted to do. And then you changed that.
Your dad was
my
probably
dreams
fuming.
Went away. No, so that that did definitely change things, and then that's when I decided to do something with my other kind of passion. I would say a passion, it's just something I was interested in, which was interiors and decorating and all that kind of stuff, and architecture. So that's kind of what took me there. But come back around.
Yeah. So we just went in as a couple, didn't we, all in, and that was 2017. And I definitely think for the first, I would say 2 years of MEE-FIT being a thing, like you look back and think we didn't know what the hell we were doing.
No.
We didn't know how to run a business. I don't really view it as a business at that point in time. It was just two people who were really passionate about fitness, who really liked working with people, supporting them on their fitness journey. We were passionate. We were, I'd like to think that what got us sort of got that ball rolling was just our passion, our enthusiasm, our ability to work with people, to create a good atmosphere, a good product, a really good coaching level of coaching within the sessions. And it just kind of snowballed from there. Like we didn't really have much of a plan, did we, when it came to finding new clients or acquiring new customers or marketing ourselves. It was just the odd Facebook post and word of mouth referrals. It was all that good stuff initially. So that was probably right through 2017. It was only really, I would say, mid to late 2017 where we both sort of realized that, okay, we could be onto something here, and knew we needed to sort of make it a little bit more, not that we weren't professional, but the sessions were always professional. We always started on time. We always delivered a really good product, but actually the way we ran the business and the taking it a little bit more seriously in terms of the actual business structure behind the scenes was probably something that didn't really happen for the first.
Well, it was hard because obviously we were coaching all the sessions, just me and you, and then if there was a point where there was only one of us in there, like we were just like passing ships, weren't we? Like you'd be going, then I'd be going, then you'd be going. So there was a lot of our just time spent, like there's no quality time together, was there? It was like we were working like other sides of the gym. We could see each other, but that was it.
Yeah, it was good fun though.
Yeah, it was really good fun, but it was hard at the same time. Like it was, a lot.
Yeah, because you're just fully involved in all the sessions, aren't you? So for that year or so, it was just me and you flat out. And then, like you said, if there ever was only one coach needed, it was one of us.
Yeah, we just had to take it in turns.
So then it was just a sort of natural growth, really. And then sort of 2018 is when, I think that was when we first started looking at things like getting a little bit better at marketing ourselves, running some like Facebook adverts, things like that. And obviously then it was a case of looking at employing someone, which was a massive step into the unknown. Like we'd never done that before. We'd never really been employees of a company either, because we'd finished our degree and then we both sort of went like self-employed, didn't we? So it was a massive step into the unknown.
Restaurants and stuff.
Yeah, but not as like a full-time. So we took that step, didn't we? And sort of thought, right, who's going to be our next employee? But thankfully, I'd heard a lot of good previous examples from other gym owners and other facility owners who I knew through a Lift the Bar, which we're still part of this day, like a personal training, like networking group. And a lot of them gyms had done what we decided to do, which was get a coach from our existing membership base.
I remember us having that conversation.
And we were like, who is there? who is within the membership base of MEE-FIT currently who we could, and I can't really remember. We'll have to ask Emily herself, but did we approach her or did she approach us, or what did we do?
I feel like we approached
Yeah, I think we maybe did. Yeah.
And I think, when Em comes on and does her story, she'll be able to sit here and tell us. But so I think we approached her.
We'll let Emily go through that on her own podcast episode.
We don't want to take Em's shine away, because Em's story is
fantastic.
epic.
But yeah, in very, very short terms, Emily joined us in the 2017, in the January when you got started.
Yeah.
Transformed her own health and fitness, and we thought it would be a great person to bring on board. So yeah, we'll save that for another episode, but that was what we did, and that was our first step into having a team and having someone else involved in the delivery of sessions.
Which again was like another turning point. I feel like every time, like when I came on, that was a bit of a turning point to the volume that was brought into the gym, and then again when Em came in, it was like it's kind of leveled up every single time we've brought somebody in, hasn't it? Like again, just how many people were coming into the gym, it's kind of just like propelled it.
And then we had a lot of other changes in 2018 as well, because we refit the gym.
Yes.
Because obviously with bringing Emily on, the idea was that we could then have 3 sessions running rather than just 2. So in the summer of 2018, we had to have that big refit where we changed all the space, got rid of the sled track, changed the rack so that there was 3 sort of pods that we called them, and fit 3 sessions of 4 with 3 coaches in like 1,000 square feet. So it was tight, wasn't it? And the programming had to be so specific in terms of where each person is going to literally stand to perform those exercises, because there was just so little space. But we made it work, and I think we sort of got out of it what we really needed at that time. But I think it was probably back end of 2018. So after bringing Emily on, then we had a few other members of staff that maybe didn't go quite as well as what we did with Emily. So, but we knew that we were on that journey to having a next staff member. And but it was at that point that we then started thinking, right, what's the next steps for MEE-FIT? And we knew that going into a bigger facility was probably the thing that we needed to do.
Yeah, so I feel like before we got to here, it was probably like an 18-month period where we knew we'd love to have a bigger space.
Yeah.
We need a bigger space.
But there just wasn't anything available, was there? I remember we were looking for a long time.
A few things came up, but it just never
Yeah.
come to have anything, obviously.
The one I really liked was the old ambulance station.
Yeah.
But it was too residential around it, wasn't it? They wouldn't let you do sessions before like 8 a.m. or after 6 p.m. or something, so it just wouldn't have worked. But that was a great space. And then eventually we got wind that this place was coming up, which was probably sometime probably like, was it like July, August time of 2019?
Yeah, probably.
That we sort of heard that this place was becoming available. The company who were here were moving, and obviously there was an opening.
Yeah, so we decided to take the plunge and we signed the lease in February 2020.
Yeah, which was a huge step, wasn't it? Because we went from 1,000 square feet, which was for anyone who doesn't know what that is, it was, what was it? Was it just over 10 meters long?
Yeah.
Maybe like, maybe it was like, I think it was a little bit longer than that. I think it was like 13, 14 meters long and then like 7 meters wide, 8 meters wide. Because you think about those meter tiles on the floor.
Yeah, pretty small.
So it was pretty small. I had one toilet.
We've got a few OG members that have
there'll be a few people listening, hopefully, to this who will remember. There was one office, which was an office.
An entrance.
Entrance, office, lockers, tea and coffee, in-body machine.
All in one.
Literally everything in one tiny room. Then we had one toilet and a sink, and that was it, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. It was proper. Yeah. But it served its purpose. But we knew that we had aspirations to make MEE-FIT into more of a business that was beyond just me and you, and that's something that we could really build and expand upon and move into here was the next step. But I think behind the scenes on all that, I think what we also knew was that working out of the previous gym didn't enable us to have sort of the number of staff that we knew we wanted or needed to enable us to have the life that we wanted when family came along. That was a big part of it, wasn't it? Well,
we got married in 2018, so we were still in the old gym then, and since we've gone out, we've always said that we wanted a family and wanted children and stuff. So I think we kind of came to the realization that we can't do this and have a family, and you can't do everything at once. So we knew we wanted a team of people, didn't we? But when we made the move to here, we didn't necessarily want it to be this big. We were looking smaller than this, a lot smaller, but we kind of felt like at the same time it was a lovely building. It had a lot of going for it, and it was just almost like a too good of an opportunity to pass up.
Well, we've been waiting for so long, hadn't we, that we thought, well, if we don't do this,
when's the next thing?
When's the next one? What's the next facility going to be? Where else could we move to? And we just sort of thought, let's take a plunge. And it was much bigger than what we ever anticipated, but we've made it work, and it's such a lovely space, and it's got loads of room, and everyone feels so spread out. Even when at our busiest times, there's still a lot of space. So I mean, there's some things about it we change, obviously, but because we just had to work within the existing sort of layout of the building. If it had been if it had been a blank canvas, we probably would have laid it out a little bit differently. Yes,
but that isn't a luxury that we had. Yeah. And then am I going to be talking about the depressing bit now?
Yeah. So we signed the lease here in late February 2020. So we got builders started because we knew we wanted to transform one of the offices into showers, changing areas. There was a few other bits we needed to do. This room that we're sat in obviously was very unfinished, wasn't it?
Yeah,
so
it's all been boarded.
Needed all plastered and everything. So there was a lot of work to do. We got the builders started probably late February, early March. And then this thing called COVID came about that none of us knew what it was. And
I remember us not taking it seriously at first.
Well, I don't think anyone did they?
No, it was just like, what?
For the first week or so. And then it all really started to kick off sort of mid-March.
And then, lockdown happened, and we just actually decided to shut the old gym because it was all kind of all just hearsay at that point, wasn't it? We decided to actually shut the gym a week before we were told to officially to shut it, just because we felt like quite uncomfortable in our small space. Like some members had got in touch saying they didn't feel comfortable. We didn't feel comfortable with, like the head counts of people catching it and all that was going on, wasn't it? Which caused a little bit of backlash from a few members saying like, oh, it's nothing, like nothing's going to happen. Like, what are you doing? Like, and then literally a few days later, lockdown. Yeah. Like everyone is shutting down. So we were just like, wow. Which
we were glad in some ways, because I remember we made the decision to close. We sent out the email and said, look, we're gonna, with everything's going on, we're gonna take the initiative and get in front of it and be like, we're going to shut and we're going to pivot to Zoom sessions, because we sort of thought that's what's going to need to happen.
Yeah.
And I remember some people like, oh yeah, like you said, what are you doing? And but then we were glad, because then in that time period, then we started having second thoughts, like, oh, should we have done it? Have we done the right thing? And
I think in that time as well, we were able to like get ourselves ready.
Yeah.
In that week, we were like, right, what are we going to do? And we kind of got ourselves organised, got ourselves ready, and then we were ready to go, weren't we? Pretty much as soon as the lockdown happened. So we went into lockdown. So it was kind of, in a way, it allowed us to shut down the old gym. We had to move everything across to here, even though the building work was going on. We just kind of had to shove it in a corner, didn't we?
Yeah.
Into the main room. We just lay everything down, didn't we? I remember just looking awful for quite a while whilst all the building stuff was going on. And me, Dan and Em did the Zoom sessions from home, our own houses. Obviously, we were able to do that together, and Em was doing it from her house. So yeah, we were like just taking it in turns, weren't we? Doing the Zoom sessions. Had multiple Zoom sessions going on as well. Like sometimes Em would be having her Zoom session and we'd have another one, wouldn't we?
Yeah, if I remember rightly, we kept mostly the same structure, didn't we? So we had the same sort of times and the same availability of like, we called it like the weight sessions, strength sessions, and then like cardio fitness sessions, didn't we? Yeah,
so of course we had to loan out all our equipment, loaned out our dumbbells, kettlebells, like, so people had to come and collect them. It was like, it's crazy, wasn't it? Think of the length like we all went to still exercise.
But the big focus for that, obviously for us, it was, we took this big leap of faith, signed this new expensive lease, and didn't anticipate having this big sort of change.
Not the start that we wanted.
No, but so part of that is we knew that we needed to do everything we could to maintain as much of our membership base as we could, and there was a selfish reason behind that, but there was also a reason that we wanted to continue to try and support people and help them navigate that difficult time and stay engaged with their health and fitness, because it was so easy to completely lose track. But I think thankfully for a lot of members that we worked with, a lot of them are still here now, and hopefully they'll view it that we managed to keep them engaged with their fitness, keep them motivated,
and we did all
give them a purpose to continue to.
So I think it was basically April until June, wasn't it, that we were doing that, and then the rules changed and we were able to go outside. So then that was when we had an amazing member, Cindy, who had a lot of space outside that we were able to use her farm basically and get teepees up, and not even teepees at first, was it?
We had a teepee from Cindy, didn't we? It was like gazebos,
and
so we had
all the mats,
because it was all the rules of people that you could engage with, wasn't it? So I remember we had did we have 6 gazebos in like a little semicircle, and that was like one session, and then there was another 6 on the other end. So there was 2 sessions running at times, wasn't it? Everyone was really spread out. And
so again, it was all fun when you
look back now. And but it was stressful, wasn't it, for us, behind the scenes? We didn't want to let members see it, but we were panicking. I remember having a conversation with your dad in the kitchen just as it was all getting a little bit serious, probably back in the March. And I remember saying to him, basically saying, if we need to sell our house, can we come and live here? Because we just signed the lease. We've been looking for so long. We knew we wanted to keep hold of this unit, and we didn't know what was going to happen. And I remember thinking, oh my God, if we need to sell our house to fund us maintaining this place, we would have done it or had to do it. So thankfully it never got anywhere near as bad as that. But
so that was June when we were able to do that, wasn't it? And then we had our official opening here in July. The top room still wasn't done, was it? When we opened, it was just downstairs, so people were able to come up and have a look at what we were doing, but we weren't officially open up here yet, were we, running team?
No, we didn't even have the floor down, did we?
No, so it was just downstairs. So we had like a grand opening, didn't we? And which was fun, but not the we weren't 100% ready, were we? And so it wasn't the opening that we wanted.
Well, no, because we didn't have the finances that we were hoping to have to do everything that we wanted to do. Like if you remember when we were planning this place, we were gonna completely refit the whole place, weren't we? We weren't even going to use the kit from the old gym, but then we had to reopen with all the old kit because we just had to make do with what we had.
Yeah, and we were obviously unsure what was going on as well, so we didn't want to spend too much money either. So we had to open up in a fashion, which was, we still had a lovely day and opened it, and all the members were really excited and loved it, which was really cool. So that was in July
2020.
July 2020. And then from July until November, that's when we had to do the whole social distancing, everybody coming up. We had to arrange people to be really far apart. The cleaning was insane. It was just like the main thing that we did was clean. Like clean everything down, make sure everybody felt comfortable. So that took a lot of energy, didn't it?
Yeah.
So that was July until November.
Yeah.
And then we went into like a mini lockdown again, didn't we? For 4 weeks before like Christmas.
Yeah.
So we went back on Zoom, but in that time we were able to do Zoom sessions from the gym, which obviously felt a bit more like work for us rather than doing it from home, which was nicer, wasn't it? So we did that for another 4 weeks, and then we opened up again, and then January
it was national lockdown
again. So honestly, it's like up down.
Yeah, because the back end of the year, the lot of difficulty we faced was the tiers.
Yes, the tiers come in, which was a confusing time for a lot of people, because we've got members from Cheshire, Wales, Shropshire. Wales obviously have a different set of rules, so that really kind of confused a lot of people and messed a lot of people up, didn't it, on that one? Yeah,
because we had some clients in Wales who couldn't come to the gym, but then we were then trying to do Zoom sessions, but then also trying to keep our normal sessions running. So it was just a mess, wasn't it, from start to finish, really?
It was hard.
And then it was kind of good that the national lockdown came in again in January, because at least everyone was on the same, everyone was in the same boat then. We're all back in lockdown, we're all back on Zoom. Let's just make of it the best we can again.
And I remember, is that kind of like when we found out we got help from the government in that sense? Is that when we found out like we were able to get grants and things like that?
No, that had all happened in 2020. For any of the bits that we could get, we got.
Yeah.
We didn't.
Which is obviously
when you hear back now, the way some companies did furlough, we sort of mugged ourselves off a little bit.
Yeah.
But we're honest people, so we wouldn't do something that we didn't feel was the right thing.
Yeah.
But we got through the national lockdown again in 2021, and then reopened again from April 12th or something, I think it was, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, April 21, just before Marshall was born.
Yeah.
So I got pregnant, obviously, when we reopened, basically,
in July.
And then had Marshall when we opened again.
Yeah. So then we had this like reopen, I think everyone kind of hoped or wished that was the last sort of lockdown, which it was, thankfully.
Yeah.
So I suppose we both
that was like our official opening, really.
I don't really view 2020 as a time that we've really been open, because it was only for a few months. Then
and
we
in like
again.
a certain capacity as well with this whole social distancing. Like it wasn't how we wanted to open, but obviously we just had to get on board with the rules.
Yeah.
So I feel like April 2021 was when we really felt like, we're open, we're doing what we want to do, how we want to do it.
And then we had a child.
Yeah. Which threw another
spanner in the works. So then we had a big change then, didn't we, I suppose, because we'd reopened, but then me and you had both then stepped into our first experience as parents and wanted to make the best of that time and make the most of that time as we could. So we had to.
And I think the way that Marshall was brought into the world didn't really have the best experience with that. So it was quite a what we both felt at the time was quite a traumatic period. Going into motherhood and fatherhood initially was not the nicest of experience in terms of the birth, but obviously you have to crack on with it, obviously. So you had a bit of time off, didn't you, to help and support me, which was very much needed at the time. But obviously having a business and doing that was
it was tricky, and because
challenging.
we had some new staff, didn't we? We had to all the staff that we had at that time, it was Emily and Tommy.
Yeah,
and
Tommy
then
was on.
Sam was still here at that point, wasn't he? And it was quite a new team, and there was a lot of changes in that. So it was quite difficult in that sense because it wasn't like we had a really stable sort of team to lean on. It was only really Emily who was up to speed on everything, wasn't she, at that point? So it was quite challenging in that time. It was all a lot of new things, a new gym, a new opening, new staff. A lot of new clients post lockdown and everything, so it was quite difficult.
I don't think looking back on it now, I don't think it took you too long to kind of get into the flow of things after Marshall was born. I'd probably say like a month after, and then you were then like back into like gym mode, work mode. But you obviously had other things pulling you away from the gym, and not just me.
No. And then since then, it's just been balancing that, hasn't it? It's been trying to balance being the best parents that we can be, especially for me, like being the best dad I can be while still trying to run the business and grow the business and develop the business. And it is a challenge, and it is one that I would say I've struggled with at times, especially in a slightly different way to a lot of people. I think because we've thankfully post-COVID, like we got ourselves back on the right track, and we've always been in a good position. It has at times enabled me to spend even more time at home with the boys, and
Well, I think we've kind of discussed this recently, haven't we? Like probably since Marshall was born, for maybe like a year or so period, you maybe like took your foot off the gas a little bit in terms of business and plans, like where we want to be and stuff. It was kind of more like, what's the word? Like we were just content, I guess, in what was coasting. Going on. Yeah, like you call it like coasting almost. Like everything was fine. Like I think like pedal on the gas is kind of like the right term as well, isn't it? Like you took the foot off the gas in terms of business, but you were spending a lot of time with me and Marshall, which you don't regret.
No, absolutely not.
And I think mine and Dad, like we're very much on the same page, is that they're only little once, and that time is precious, and everyone will tell you that it goes so quickly. Like it absolutely does. Like we've got another one now, and like Max has been born. Like it just goes so quickly. So I don't think you'd ever look back on that time and think, oh my God, I should have been. No. There's a little bit of you that thinks, oh God, where we could we have been more further on if you hadn't have taken a step back slightly. But I don't think it's not a regret.
No, definitely not. I would never regret it. And it's a constant conversation we've had, and a constant battle that I know I have internally, and obviously we discuss it quite a lot. Is like you said, it's you want to build the business and you want to prioritize the business, but at the same time, that the children are only going to be that little once, and I don't want to miss out on occasions and events and all these things, because family is an important thing to me. We're both very family orientated people. Family is one of my highest thing that I value in life. So it's been challenging in that sense.
And I think there's probably other people that you look at, like in our world of fitness, that might view it differently, as in they put in their business first so they can put in their business first to provide for the family, or so they've got something later in life and stuff. But I think they might be the people that potentially look back on that time and think, I should have maybe spent a bit more time at home, potentially. Like, maybe. You don't know. Everyone's different, aren't they? Everyone's like priorities are different and how they view it, I guess. But
like I've always just viewed it that, like, I'd like to think business will always be here, but that time that we have with the children when they're really young is over so quickly. I mean, next September, Marshall will be starting full-time school. Max will be starting.
He'll be on his way to start
not that long after. So we know that phase will be over very quickly, and then
they do say it's that first 5 years.
Is
that time where you're.
But I think hopefully no one takes this the wrong way. Like we've never not valued the business, or never sort of not cared about the performance, or haven't let the standards drop. Like that's always been our main priority with it, is keeping the standards, keeping the quality and everything. But thankfully we've got a really, really good team in place. I'm happiest now with the team than I've ever been. And it does mean that I know I hope I know that whenever we're not here and if we're not involved in things, that things are getting done exactly how we want them to be, and the standards are kept high. And any of the new clients that we've been working with over the last few months who are absolutely loving it here, they don't have as much to do with us as what some of our older clients used to do.
Yeah.
But there doesn't seem to be any real difference in the overall, you know, retention of clients and all of that and stuff. So we know that the team are delivering.
Well, I think that was a new thing to you, wasn't it, in that period of when like Marshall was born in like the last few years, is delegating things and giving people more responsibilities rather than you trying to do everything or overseeing things, which obviously you do oversee everything because you're here and stuff, but it's giving people more room to do things and have more responsibility, basically.
And it's quite hard when you've been used to doing everything yourself for so long. Like, so from 2016 pretty much through to 2019, 2020, like Emily came on board, but she just coached. Like she didn't have that much to do outside of her coaching compared to now. It was pretty much just me and then you know, doing everything. So it is quite challenging to start to delegate and start to relinquish control over certain things. But you know, you get to a point where you have to do that. And if anything, and I'd say especially even more so now that we've got a team in place who are arguably better than us in most of the areas that they have to do. Yeah. Like Tommy obviously looks after the program. He absolutely loves that and has a really good knowledge and really good understanding of that side of things. You know, and it's good because it means that we've got people in the positions that they need to be who are potentially
doing it better
than us at those specific jobs and the skills that they have and the knowledge that they have. And that was always the idea, was having a really good team to deliver the service and the product that we offer. Yeah.
So yeah, you probably feel a lot happier now knowing that all that's in place, and that even gives you a little bit more freedom.
And most of the staff have been in place now for a number of years, haven't they? It's obviously only Claire who's newer, but she's brought and Callum. But Claire's brought a very different knowledge and experience to the gym, which has been brilliant. And we'll have Claire on episode 2 actually, so we'll save that conversation for then. But yeah,
Callum's like a perfect example of like this whole setup here today, like the videography, like that's what his speciality is. Like that's way better than what we could ever do. Like I like to think I've got like a little eye for like taking photos and stuff, but not on this level.
And it's different having someone who's dedicated to a role. And I think we've never had that. We've never had, you know, we've done the social media mostly ourselves, and it's always been quite hit and miss and not consistent. Whereas now we've got someone in place who can hopefully elevate that and improve upon that and showcase the results that we achieve and the clients that we work with and the overall kind of ethos of the place. So
yeah, and can you remember like back in old gym and even like initially starting here, like social media wasn't even like on our radar, like to it needs to go on social media.
We did it really intermittently.
Take a photo, like it needs to be on there. Like it was really on at your last thought to do. Whereas now, with social media being how it is, it's like we need to let everyone see this. We need to get on social media. We need to showcase this. Whereas that just wasn't even.
Well, I think it was still a thing. I think it was just something that we didn't do enough of.
We didn't focus on it, did we?
We didn't view it that we maybe. Did we not have the time, or did we just not prioritise it enough? I don't know, but it wasn't as good as it could have been, and it was a few years.
It's definitely more of an afterthought, wasn't it? Than
I remember doing the testimonial days where it was like, well, we've not done any for a while. Like, we need to get some out there and that type of thing. But like I said, it was two people who didn't really know how to run a business. It was just two people who were passionate about fitness and wanted to create the best service we could. So a lot of that stuff was just something that we thought of after.
So to finish today, shall we talk a little bit more about like what MEE-FIT is? Like what is our like mission? What is our ethos? Like what are we all about? For those that don't know or have just started or thinking about starting or just watching this on the off chance.
Yeah. So it's funny that I think about it because I don't think we ever really truly knew that initially. Like when we first opened, we didn't really know who we were targeting. We didn't really know who our key demographic was, or
like who our people were.
Yeah, like it was just a bit of a mishmash of things, wasn't it? And I think that was just, again, because we were just passionate about fitness. We loved helping people. We wanted to just help anyone and everyone, and that was great. But it did make challenges because we had such a diverse and varied client base that it meant some client events that we did like would massively suit some people and completely not other people, and then that's still apparent a little bit today, but
I do think we have learned that over the last couple of years. Like, you can't target everybody, you can't please everybody, you can't think that this is going to work for everybody, because it just doesn't. So I feel like that is definitely something that we've learned over the past like year or so, that you just need to like have a bit more of a focus on a certain type of person, and then you try and meet their needs. Like, you can't meet everybody's needs.
And I think if I think about kind of what we're all about, for us, it's about providing a high level of service in terms of a gym and a fitness facility. I think the traditional gym model is what I suppose that we're here to be completely the opposite of. The traditional gym model being go on the website, sign up to a membership, turn up for your first session, get given a membership card, and then you might get shown around, and then you're left to your own devices.
Yeah, that's not us.
And that's the normal gym model, I suppose. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. And for so many people out there, that works brilliantly well, because that's exactly what they need.
Yeah, that's all they need.
They need facilities, they need kit, and then they can crack on. Whereas what we typically find for most clients that we work with is they are people who that type of gym doesn't work well for them because, well, a combination of things. One being they don't really know what to do, and they don't know how to use all the equipment, and they don't know how to use all the other facilities, and they end up not using it at all.
Yeah, paying for a membership that they do not use.
Yeah, and then secondly, they might be people who struggle to maintain motivation levels when left to their own devices, and we hear from new clients all the time that they've had a membership and they went once or twice, and then they missed a couple of sessions, and that was it. You kind of feel like you're back to square one, and it's really difficult to maintain that motivation level on your own if you're not someone who fitness comes really naturally to.
So bringing that back to like who we are and what we do, that goes straight onto that, doesn't it?
Yeah, because what we do differently, I suppose, and what we've always based it around is providing the support, the coaching, the accountability that clients need to get fantastic results. So when they do sign up with us, they're not left to their own devices. They've got a coach with them whenever they're training within the gym, whether that's in a personal training setting or in a class, and that coach will know them in terms of their goals, their injury history, their level of fitness, and be able to tailor the session accordingly. We also then provide, education and support around like lifestyle factors, so nutrition and other things outside the gym, because we know that the 1 hour that you spend in the gym is very, very important, but the 23 hours outside of the gym are just as important, if not more so important, in terms of the overall result that people are looking to achieve. So providing, support around that as well, and making sure that clients know what they need to be doing from a training perspective, nutrition perspective, and really just giving them that support and that accountability. And that's a big, big part for us.
Yeah, because I feel like, commercial gyms, they actually like base how they work on people not turning up and not showing up. Because if all their memberships turned up,
it'd be chaos.
It'd be absolute chaos. They wouldn't actually be able to function as a gym, because there would just be not enough stuff. So they actually rely on people not turning up, whereas we are the opposite. Like, if you miss a session, you've missed a week and we don't know where you are, like, you are called, you are texted, like you are checked in on, like, and I think that's a massive thing for people here, that they know that they're never just left and no one cares. Like, that's a big thing, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I remember listening to a podcast with a friend of mine who owns a similar gym, and he used to work in a commercial gym, and they had this like list of people who like haven't been in however long, and he was like, shall we call them and see what's going on? And the management were like, no, like, just leave them alone, because they're paying the bills and they're not using the facilities, which is not the way that we want to run things. So our setup's obviously very, very different in terms of the fact that we actually want people here fundamentally. We want them here getting great results, enjoying the enjoying the results that they achieve and the coaching that they get, and then obviously building that community, which is also a big focus.
Yeah, I was just about to say that's another big thing for us, isn't it? That like family feel, community feel is really important to us, and that's why we do a lot of things that help bring that together, like our social events and our like fitness events as well.
Yeah.
Like we try and do something every single month to, you know, bring that community feel to the gym and get people introduced to each other who haven't met each other in their sessions, and there is like lasting forever friendships within our gym, and that is just so cool to see. Like I can name so many of people that not only train together but they do stuff outside of MEE-FIT that's not arranged from the gym. Like they go for meals, they go for coffees, they do their own 10k runs and here, there and everywhere, and it's amazing. Like, and that we love that. Yeah,
because we've always known like that's what keeps people here. Like, you know, people generally start a new fitness journey because they want to make positive changes to their body shape, their fitness level, mental health benefits. You know, there's so many things.
Yeah, but what keeps
people coming back, we tend to find, is all of that stuff, but it's surrounded by the fact that they know people who are there. They're going to enjoy themselves because they're surrounded by friendly, welcoming, supportive people. They've got those connections outside of their sessions as well, which just keeps that.
I think that's another thing for keeping motivation as well, isn't it? When you've got a friend that's, you know, people know you, like they're texting you, like, where have you been this week? As well. It's not just us, it's like your gym friend is now saying, where have you been this week? Are you away? Are you on holiday? So there's that as well on top of it, which I think is another motivational factor for people. Yeah, definitely. So that's a little insight into the history of MEE-FIT and what sort of brought us to this point. We're going to finish this episode here. We'll just mention that the next episode is going to be one that we're going to be doing with Coach Claire, who we've mentioned a little bit throughout the podcast today. Claire joined us about a year ago, and as I mentioned earlier, has brought a very different sort of concept and mindset concept towards MEE-FIT that we've maybe not been as focused on in the past, but it's definitely brought a new dimension that's been really welcomed, and especially for clients that we've worked with who've generally been people who've struggled with their fitness over the years. It's definitely been a really positive step. So yeah, we're looking forward to getting that out in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, thank you very much for listening, everybody. And we'll speak to you all soon.